also built a gymnasium, a weight room, a classroom for credit recovery, and business offices at that same spot. In 2018, we opened an outpatient clinic, counseling clinic in Bend. In 2021, we moved our Redmond clinic to the downtown 7th Street. You guys, a lot of you came for our ribbon cutting last October, which was super fun. And we also have a counseling clinic in Prineville too. So I could go on and tell you all about the things that we're doing, but 30 years later, I'll just tell you we have 60 plus employees. We have an 8-person board of directors, and we're going really strong. So that's because of the help that you guys give us. I do have a video that Tim Park put together for us, with the help of Redmond Proficiency Academy, donated some money to do. So I do want to show it to you. It gives you a really good outlay of all of our services and whatnot. So let me find it. So we're
Rimrock Trails provides professional counseling services for children, adolescents, adults, couples, and families who are struggling with various life challenges, including mental health and substance use problems. With locations in Bend, Redmond, and Pineville, Oregon, they have served over 10,000 Central Oregon individuals and families to date.
We know that there's a huge demand and a lack of available services for adults with mental health disorders in Central Oregon. We know that only 1 in 5 individuals who go to their primary care doctor and report struggling with mental health will actually be able to access the care that they need. It's very important to us that we create a system where access to care is quick, short wait times, and just to try and reduce any barriers that we can so that people can get into care and get the help that they need as quickly as possible.
It's not what's wrong with you, it's what happened to you. And this is a completely different way of viewing people, because if we can't function well, if we're not functioning well up here, we're not going to be able to keep our job. We're certainly not going to be fulfilled in whatever we're doing.
Since 1990, Rimrock Trails has specialized in the treatment of adolescent substance use disorders, operating one of the few adolescent residential treatment programs in the state. Over the last few years, Rimrock Trails has expanded to 3 locations, offering mental health services to persons of any age.
We've expanded our services in the last year. In our outpatient services, we now provide not only youth substance use treatment, but we provide services now for individuals through the lifespan.
We work really hard to provide comprehensive treatment services so we can support the individual even outside of the office. We have peer support specialists, which are individuals who have lived experience, help them with a job interview, or help them go shopping, get the clothes that they need, or whatever it may be, to help reduce the barriers so that they can have the most successful outcome.
Rimrock Trails maintains close relationships with other care providers to make obtaining services as easy as possible.
Maybe it's a client or a patient seeks some support for anger issues or other mental health struggles from their primary care provider who's not in a position to do that. So they're able to refer them over to here, and we're able to give them that more long-term support after some other community agency makes initial contact with that client.
Because I've worked with adolescents at Redmond for the past 16 or 17 years, I've been very familiar about the work that Rimrock does to help adolescents. And as they expand and provide more services to more people in our community, I think it's important that people understand the value that they have in our community. The strength of community lies in its willingness to help those who are in the most need. To be a place where we can help people understand the value of mental health, I think is critically important for our success.
Our focus is really just on helping the individual or family live their best life, be their best selves. And that looks different for everybody. So we're not setting goals for people, but what do you want out of life? What do you want to change?
When you see someone you love struggling because they can't deal with, they can't cope with what's going on in the world or in their life because they've got a mental health issue that is undiagnosed or untreated. It's really painful because no matter how much you want to help, there's not much you can do. And so when they get the help they need, when they're finally diagnosed and they get the treatment that's necessary and their lives change and they become the beautiful, talented people that you know them to be, it's amazing. I would encourage people to think about what kind of community do you want to live in? Where do you see us as a community in the future? Are we a place where we take care of one another? Because if we are, then we need to support mental health services. We need to support places like Rimrock because they're doing the work to help establish a mentally healthy community. And when you can get someone the treatment and the help they need, and it changes their lives, that's how you know you're doing the right thing.
There it goes. Okay. Okay, we got it. So I'm not entirely sure where my slides are in this presentation, so just bear with me for one moment. I mean, as you can see, we have our mission statement. This was actually probably less child and family based and more all of Rimrock. But our mission is to provide comprehensive, evidence-based counseling services for individuals and families affected by mental health and substance use disorders. We take that very seriously, obviously, since we're here and we're presenting to you guys, and we're looking to grow and expand our programs. And then Michelle already talked about that. I don't know very much about the residential program, so I'm going to skip over that. And then our outpatient counseling. So like Michelle said, we have offices in Redmond, Prineville, and Bend. And we provide a wide variety of services, not just child and family. We do dual diagnosis, so mental health and substance use. We do family counseling, couples counseling, and then individual counseling as well. The eating disorder services, we did actually have an eating disorder specialist, and a lot of our children had eating disorders, and so it was a wonderful addition. We have one clinician right now who is able to see children with eating disorders or disordered eating, but she's pretty full. So we're looking to expand that portion of our program as well. So some scary mental health facts for children. Start off with the scary stuff. So prior to COVID, there was a study conducted by the CDC, and I think you heard Erica say it in the video, that 1 in 5 children were diagnosed with a mental health disorder in 2019, but only 20% of them received services. That's a huge gap. In 2020, there was another study conducted, and I apologize, I didn't write who conducted the study up here. It was 1,000 parents around the country, and of those parents, 71% of them said that COVID was the worst thing to ever happen to, or no, I'm sorry, 69% said it was the worst thing to ever happen to their child, and 71% reported seeing a toll taken on their child's mental health. So again, that's a pretty big increase. And then from March 2020 to October 2020, the emergency department saw an increase in mental health related emergencies for children 5 to 11, 24% increase, which is a very large increase for children. And then 39% in ages 12 to 17. So we're not just seeing it in teenagers and adolescents, we're now seeing mental health emergencies in younger children as well, and that's really where our need is. This is a pretty scary statistic. Currently, the Surgeon General is estimating that there are 6,600 suicides or completed suicides in the country at this time. That is not a hard number, so just know that that could be more and it could be a little less. And then, of course, as you all know, that prior to the pandemic, there was a lack of mental health providers. People working with children were severely not underserved. I don't know what I was saying there. But children were severely underserved by mental health providers, and that was exacerbated during the pandemic when we realized that there are not enough child mental health providers. There's also not a lot of programs that teach child mental health for providers in schools. So that's something that we're looking to improve. It's something that we've been talking to OSU about so that we can meet that need a little bit better in the community. And then just a little bit more information about the groups of children who are at higher risk. Youth with intellectual and developmental disabilities, or IDD. Racial and ethnic minority youth, including Black youth, Latino youth, Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander youth. I don't have the statistics, but it was startling. So if you want the statistics, it's from a Surgeon General report from 2021. LGBTQIA youth, they lost a significant part of the support system during the pandemic. A lot of these children had supports in their school and in their community, but not at home, and so they became at more risk during the pandemic. And then low-income youth, youth in rural areas, youth in immigrant households, and then special youth populations. This over here, and I'm sure Michelle, if you want to send the PowerPoint, she can send it to you so you guys can read through this. This is just another example of what is going on and what factors can shape mental health. So what can you do? Here's the big part I'm sure you guys are all waiting for. First and foremost, be the best role model that you can be for your children. Take care of your own mental health. Take care of your own physical health. Show your children that this is important and that it does matter. The next thing is that the children in your circle, not just your own children, not just your own grandchildren, but the children that you come in contact with, make sure that they have a safe and supportive adult that they can rely on. Studies show that children who have even one supportive adult have a better outcome in their life and in their future than children who don't. Encourage healthy social relationships with peers. This is especially true for children in the adolescent age group. The peer group in development becomes more important than the family group, so making sure that you're supporting those healthy relationships is really important during this time. And then, of course, children do better in a predictable and stable environment, so try and have routines in your household, try and make sure they know what they're coming home to, be the support, be the predictable aspect of their life, because everything around them is unpredictable right now. This one is a little hard to do, especially with younger children, but the earlier you talk to children about their risks of alcohol and other drugs, the less likely they are to suffer from a substance use disorder. Children who are exposed to, who are talked to, who have knowledge, have a less likely chance of needing treatment for substance use disorders. Ensuring regular checkups with healthcare providers. This can be the pediatrician, the BHCs at COPA and Mosaic. Healthcare providers are trained to do what we call the PHQ-9, which is the Professional Health Index. I don't remember what it is, I'm sorry. There's a lot of acronyms in my head. But what it does is it helps us screen for childhood depression. And so if you take your child to the pediatrician or to a BHC more regularly than you would to a mental health provider, then they can help get them into services quicker. And then what to look for. Children, as Michelle was saying earlier, children don't have the language to express how they're feeling. They don't have the ability to tell you, I feel depressed today. I mean, some do, but most do not. So ways that you can tell if there's a mental health challenge being presented, you can look for increased episodes of irritability, anger, withdrawing from things that they used to enjoy, they no longer do. Changes in their thought patterns, all of a sudden they're talking very negatively to you, that's a red flag, or their appearance, especially in older youth. Decreased performance in school, including the ability to concentrate, that is a huge red flag for depression and anxiety, also for ADHD, but a lot of the times depression and anxiety is overlooked now that we're in the ADHD phase of social media. And then changes in sleeping or eating patterns. They're eating more, they're eating less, they're sleeping more, they're sleeping less. Those are all signs and red flags that your child might need some extra support. These don't mean that your child is struggling with some major mental health disorder. It doesn't have to be a cause for alarm, but it can be a cause to say, hey, my child needs some skills. I'm going to bring them into a provider. And then for children, I would say from 8 to above, although like I said, we are seeing younger children experience self-harm and self-injurious behaviors. Minimize access and means to self-harm. This includes firearms, which I know Central Oregon you guys probably might have, but you shouldn't. And then prescription medications should always be locked up. And they sell really cheap lock boxes on Amazon that children can't get into, just so you guys know. And then the last thing, in this day and age, spending time online can be really harmful to children if they're not monitored. Make sure you know what they're doing online. Make sure you know how much time they're spending on video games. Do I believe that screen time is a helpful tool for children? Of course. I was a mom for a little while. I understand. But you want to make sure that you know what your child is doing at all times online. And then, what are we doing in outpatient at Rimrock Trails? So obviously we're very aware of the mental health crisis in children at this time. Most recently, we have partnered with the Redmond School District. We are now contracted as their preferred provider, and we're hoping that next year we can start providing services for children who are at lower risk in schools. So in the elementary schools, in the middle schools, in the high schools, and then any student who is in need of a little bit more support or more family work, the schools can then refer to us and we can help them in office. We have also developed a partnership with Mountain Star. So our 0 to 5 children, Mountain Star Relief Nursery is a great program. And we're providing mental health services for children and family on site right now in Prineville, and then we're hoping to expand to Redmond and Bend in the next year. We are also providing funding for evidence-based practices, so training for our clinicians in different practices. The most recent one that we've done for children specifically is TheraPlay. We have 3 clinicians trained in it right now, and I'm also trained in it as a supervisor, so we do consultation groups too. TheraPlay is an amazing tool. I want you guys to all go look it up. I'm not going to explain it to you, but it's fun, it's engaging, it helps build attachment, and it can really, really, really help children and adolescents with their needs without really even having to feel like they're going to talk therapy. That's why I love it. And then, of course, as always, we're hiring child clinicians. Our newest clinician we're very excited about, Katie London. She is coming to us from her experience working with children in a day treatment setting in New York, and then she's also been here for about 3 years. She's trained in TheraPlay. She's an amazing counselor, and we're really excited to have her. We also have Nicole Stefano, who I don't have a nice flyer for. Sorry, Nicole. She is currently an intern. She is graduating in a couple weeks, and we've hired her. We're very excited to have her. She's working at our Mountain Star program right now. And then we're looking at hiring other child providers as well. And finally, thank you guys for all sitting through this. I made little resource cards. So if you scan the QR code, it'll take you to our link tree, and there's a whole bunch of resources for what children or families can do to help children. So I'll pass these out. There's also little stickers on the back. Just go.
Guys, I got so crazy about the video, I forgot to tell you about the residential treatment program and give you a quick update. As I said, we are open. We opened we closed down temporarily in August 2021, and we reopened April 18th of this year. Things are going. It's a work in progress. We're opening very slowly, and the COVID isn't helping. As I told you earlier, we've just had an outbreak, so we're trying to keep. We've had to send some of the kids home. We're trying to keep as many as we can. Kiwanis, as you know, last year the foundation gave us an incredible donation of over $16,000 to renovate the residential treatment restrooms. I can tell you our ventilation systems are now working and fixed. Our showers are being improved this month, and we will be doing the tile and the countertops this summer. Our contractor, just like everybody else, has had trouble getting materials in, and so that's why the length of time it's taking us a little bit longer than we anticipated. But again, thank you for that great donation, because it's really bringing our treatment center up to updated standards. So thank you.
Questions? Sorry.
I have one. That, you know, so many times you see troubled youth and you know that they are headed way wrong. When you're not personally involved in their situation, how can you bring knowledge to that situation?
That's tough, because if you're not personally involved with them, then it's hard to get them involved in treatment services. The best thing that you can do is become involved with communities, so that, like you guys are doing with Kiwanis, so that there's more treatment services available and they can become aware. So then you can educate schools, you can educate POs, you can educate parents. And then all of those surrounding factors can help get that child into treatment.
Is there a fairly long wait, or you have enough counselors so that new patients don't need to wait a long time to get in?
So unlike most of the providers in the area, we actually have a very short wait period at this point. Up until I think this week, we didn't have any wait lists, and now we're starting to see a bit of an increase, and so we have a five wait list now.
A lot of providers, it's a 6 to 8 week wait list. That's kind of an average, and we were able to get people in within 2 weeks, and we were very proud of that for a long time. But our business is also up 262% from last year, which is great, because that means people are getting services, but it is getting harder and harder to serve people at a timely manner like we need to. So, yeah.
Which is why we're hiring providers.
Yeah.
Mine is more not a question, but really quick, because I know we're so short on time. My daughter is an educator on the other side of the mountain, and she works in a district that is 95 to 97% free lunch. So she works with a lot of families that are very low income, and the children are a product of that. She's works a lot with the LGBTQ community and with the children. When COVID hit and they were doing their distance learning, those children didn't have anyone to talk to. And in their families, majority of the families that come from this rural area do not want to be involved in the fact that the child has come forward and admitted that they are part of this community. This is what, you know, and so my daughter made it a point, she's not a, you know, can't be a counselor to them, but made it a point through all of COVID. These children bonded to her. She is a safe person for them to go to. The families are aware that she is this teacher that these children can come to. The suicide rate skyrocketed in the school district over there due to COVID and not being able to reach out, families not knowing where to go. Grades plummeted due to it. The kids are coming back, you know, they came back to school, and being back in school, they were so conditioned with distance learning and really not doing the work that they should have done, that they're at a point now that they don't care. They don't care about education. So she's made it a point to really get involved more with them. And right now she's working with a senior who has to take 5 courses in order to graduate because she only has a half a credit in math. So they said, well, you have to do this. She took this child out of her classes and said, you passed all the other ones. Every day you're going to do this. We're going to do this test together. She has one more. She's passed every one. If she passes this last one, she's going to get this child to graduate. She's part of this community. But the big thing was that I'm almost done. Went to Disneyland on a trip, and they helped fund some of these kids who could not afford to go on this trip for choir and band. It was $1,100 per child. So my daughter and them raised a lot of money so these kids would be able to do this, especially in their senior year. I got to be a chaperone and got to see firsthand. I have never, and you'll send me into tears thinking about it, I've never seen so much love that these children give to my daughter and what she gives back. And they came forward and, as they call it, you're Mrs. Collins' mom. And that was it. They would go, Mrs. Collins' mom and stuff. But they came forward and they were crying, just saying, can we take her with us when we graduate? Can we take her with us? And stuff. And I broke down crying because they're just like, we love you, Miss Collins. We love you. They wanted to ride rides with us, do everything. And it's just this beautiful group of like 25 children that fell in love with her. And she stayed with them from the beginning because the fear that she had was the suicide rate of one of those children could go up. So she was being very protective of going, I'm here for you, I'm going to talk with you, anything you need, even if it's just to be silly, let's just be silly. So it's beautiful because a lot of these kids are struggling mentally right now and don't know what the next step for them is. So thank you, I'm very excited I went to a coffee clatter that you were part of and stuff, and I just love it. Thank you. So thank you.
It takes a village, so
It does.
we're on time, we're over time, so I want to thank our guests. These are pins that we have put together. You guys can trade one month. Well, with that, go out, hug a kid.
That's right.
The kid that's looking down, not making eye contact, just say hello.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we do. Okay.